My next patron question is from Benjamin, who wanted to know what's a great film that was overshadowed by controversy. There's certainly movies I've really enjoyed that were hit with some sort of controversy upon release or even later that then became one of the most well-known aspects of that film. Sometimes it's understandable, other times it's blown out of proportion. A movie that was hit with a lot of controversy when it first opened, while also being one of the director's most highly regarded works, is A Clockwork Orange. A movie with its themes and content was probably always going to stir response, but everyone involved was surprised at how big it got. A Clockwork Orange was immediately accused of inspiring copycat crimes among the youth, which led to condemnation from British law about the effect violent movies had on young people. Stanley Kubrick was even hit with death threats, and to protect his family, he asked Warner Brothers to withdraw the film from circulation in the United Kingdom. It says something about Kubrick's relationship with the studio that they agreed to do this. So for years, A Clockwork Orange was this forbidden fruit in the UK, that movie you were not allowed to see. The film was not even released on VHS, although it likely would have run afoul of the video nasties era, when movies seen as excessively violent were not allowed a home video release in the UK or required major cuts. It was not until after Kubrick's death in 1999 that A Clockwork Orange was legally re-released in the country. The movie, often regarded as the best film ever made, was also extremely controversial, at least in Hollywood, and that was Citizen Kane. The film is primarily based on the life of newspaper magnate William Randolph Hearst, and he was so furious that he tried several attempts to make sure it was never released, including threatening the other studio chiefs. MGM even offered to buy the movie from RKO to destroy the prints. The film was released, but Hearst did everything in his power to make sure theaters did not show it and his newspapers did not advertise it. Citizen Kane underperformed on its original release because of this, and it was not until the 50s, when the movie began airing on television and after Hearst had died, that the film gained its current reputation. Ironically, Hearst is now primarily remembered for his connection to Citizen Kane. By the way, if you want to see a fantastic movie about the controversy surrounding Citizen Kane, check out RKO 281. It's an extremely entertaining and well-acted dramatization of the whole ordeal. You also have movies that were overlooked in that time because of outside controversies. Charlie Chaplin's Limelight is a notable example. There was already growing resentment towards Chaplin when he was making that movie, due to the McCarthy communist witch hunt. Chaplin was not a communist, but was highly critical of the House Un-American Activities Committee, and the FBI investigated him. J. Edgar Hoover particularly disliked him. The American public would turn on Chaplin, and when he went to London to promote Limelight, his re-entry permit was revoked. Even though Limelight played in a few theaters in the US, mainly New York, most theaters rejected it due to the then current attitude towards Chaplin. His next movie, A King in New York, which parodied the communist trials, was not even released in the United States until several years later. Limelight is a lovely movie, and it's a shame the political climate in the 50s meant few Americans got to see it until 20 years later. These are all movies that were controversial when first released, but things eased after a while. But what about a movie that became controversial afterwards? A case where the reception of a film has been twisted is with Shakespeare in Love. The film was highly acclaimed and was seen as a funny take on Shakespeare's life. However, it then won the Oscar for Best Picture, and this has clouded over the movie ever since. Why? Part of it has to do with the fact that this was a Harvey Weinstein production, and after his real crimes were revealed, things like his excessive campaigning for Oscars were placed under even greater scrutiny. The narrative nowadays is that Weinstein used his power and influence to court Academy voters, and that's the only reason it won Best Picture over Saving Private Ryan. And yes, he did use his connections to help his films gain attention at award shows. A long-standing rumor was that he even started a whisper campaign saying that Saving Private Ryan peaked in the opening battle sequence. Steven Spielberg, meanwhile, refused to stoop to Weinstein's level and chose to campaign his movie fairly and let natural word of mouth and the usual advertising in the trades do the talking. The way people currently talk about Shakespeare in Love makes it seem like some basic rom-com that only won because of Weinstein. However, this ignores that the film received excellent reviews from critics, with both Siskel and Ebert placing it on the top 10 films of the year list. And the movie was a huge crowd pleaser with paying audiences, becoming a big box office hit. So this was not a movie that only Academy voters appreciated. However, whenever Shakespeare in Love is brought up, people want to discuss its Oscar wins more than the actual quality of the movie itself. Anyway, what are some movies you really like that became mainly known for controversy at the time or later? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for your question, Benjamin.